I am going to be sharing from Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham Hicks in a theme of called Don't Fear. And she talks about how the best deliberate creating is done in advance, not after the fact, not like a damage control, but as a setting of the table. So in our human tendency, we often want to get to the bottom of things, but there's no bottom. And when we focus on what we don't want, we split our energy. We're locking into grids that are not in the center out of avoidance, which creates more of what we don't want because that's where we're placing our energy. When we pre-pave the way, or we make, in other words, intention, out there where the air is clear, we can get a momentum and set things in motion, like out there of our future, like rather than all the stuff that's getting locked in, like not in center. In other words, like the other way to say it is like a knee-jerk response. We try to get rid of what we don't want. Or we could sort of, she calls this blundering. We're like blundering out into the day, like blurry almost, and mistakes and just reacting to everything. And when we're in this state, we have to ride it out and accept it. I personally love the whole of needing to go for a walk. Some people love to go for a nap. It depends on probably how your parents responded to it, but it still works. Some people, they just went down for a nap every time they were cranky. Some people, they went for a walk to the park every time they were cranky, like as a kid, with the babysitter, with the parent, in school, or just like get an activity, or just go to your bed, so we have to let it go. Whatever it is the bad. So we're sort of reacting to everything like it's bad, and we have to accept that it's bad, ride it out. Okay, I have to feel bad, and then recognize it's a state of being, and then the bad state will pass. But if we're like sort of trying to get rid of it, we might be reacting as a response. Our grid is an energy vortex. There's vibrational basis to this, and I like to think of it as like a tuning fork with a gel. So sometimes it's like the gel could be in different positions. That's also our state. We obviously have lines and edges, but there's also this like tuning fork, like a gel, like less linear. And when we step into our full power, everything gets better, so it goes better. When we have desires, like the more in the future it is, the better it is to be general about it. When we say things like, I'm going to live happily ever after, it's going to be great, these are ways to center into a real truth that actually reassures the full spectrum of the self. When we try to be too specific, it'll be from a lack place, when we don't have any more information. Rather, we should just say everything's going to fall into place. I'll know what to do when the time comes, and things always work out for me. I'll know it when I see it. I don't have to figure it out now. These are healthy ways of talking to ourselves and inner parenting. Things like, I'll be guided every step of the way, like what you might tell a child who's confused. And something like a meditation, which personally is one of my favorite ways. I haven't meditated yet today more than 5. I did a 5-minute meditation, but I like to do a full-fledged 42-minute one. But it can be hard when you don't get in the habit. Like yesterday, I had to kind of meditate on the go. And I may do a little extra meditation today to make up for it. But when we're in a meditation, it stops all these thoughts. And it stops the resistance to the thoughts that could happen to things we don't like. And then wanting the things specific, which comes from lack. And then from meditation, we can have everything flow into experience. That's the pure vibration of existence. Because when we're present and enjoying the moment and being conscious of the other being, whoever is being with us, whether it's our self-consciousness or another human, or an animal, or the wind or the sunshine or the water, everything's in our awareness, unified with our vehicle, which allows us to be specific. But once something's activated, if we don't like it, we now have to start to have better, she would say better, like things we say to ourselves. From what database are these items coming from? In other words, let's say it starts coming in like, I shouldn't like that. Why would we be thinking that? If it's a negative emotion, it's pulling from a negative place. It could be an unresolved issue. Like for me, for example, I don't like that because when I liked it, I was made fun of for it, or I was disappointed. I don't want to deal with it anymore. So we really have this grid filling up like it does. And it's very difficult to push the button on a television of thought once the momentum's going, like to change the channel. So that's why like we should we could tell ourselves things like, we don't have to figure this out right now. We could just let the momentum peter out. It won't last forever, and clearly I have a point of attraction going on. I want to change, but this moment isn't the time. So we could say, well, I hate this. I never want to deal with this again, but we can't actually stop it at this moment. This is when it's happening. So this is when we get to learn about it and being able to allow it to generalize, knowing there isn't something at the basis to get to eventually. It doesn't, even if it doesn't seem clear right now, that eventually it'll all make sense and that things will work out. A basic fundamental trust to be in flow. So I might say something to myself like, I can like it even if I may not attain it or have it. And to say something to myself like, the reason I want it is because I think it'll make me happy, but I'm happy. I just couldn't have it at a different time. Or someone told me it doesn't make me happy. And sort of this self-talk, where we get to the bottom of things, is an ability to move in and out of the grid. But flexibly is the goal. So when we expand, it's really dependent on new information. For example, like I just shared, I was sharing with myself new information. We want to sift and sort, not just go back to align to who we were before we came into this physical body, or only be an energy vortex. We want to actually be like information transforming, new opportunity to mold the clay. And when something sticks out sharply, uncomfortably, it means we've done such good grid work to be able to recognize the discordance early on. Who I really am is not this. It's not in accord with me. It's just the evidence of disharmony. I don't need to want it or have to have. Not about blame, but I don't need to want this anymore to want what I can't have, or to have something that isn't meant for me. I don't need that anymore. It's just evidence of disharmony. So when we feel a negative emotion, it means we're doing something right. We're utilizing our guidance to know what the little bumps even mean at the edge of our alignment is a gift. And that's also how we become more of ourselves in the world. And what I did a practice, and this is about 5 years ago, I was learning these things. And you can find videos of Esther Hicks and podcast, like recordings all over the place. Or you might look up Abraham Hicks, because she channels Abraham Hicks. And I want to say there was an exercise a friend of mine did who loved Esther Hicks, who actually told me about Esther Hicks. She told me there was a person close to me, and they were they were on my energy vortex. It was such a strong point of attraction. I couldn't get out of it, and it would cause me a lot of discomfort, like feeling like obsessed because I couldn't say no or yes. And this person would offer me like a necklace, and I would say no, but then I couldn't stop thinking about the necklace, what it might represent. And then, this person would say they want to be in a relationship with me, and I said, no, I just want to be friends. And they said they don't know how to be friends with the opposite gender. And then I would nonstop think about it. So it was like clearly this very strong energy, but it was, this I wrote from years before. So I wrote it 5 years ago, but it's probably from another 3 to 5 years before that. So she told me, right, why is this person being my reflection on my frequency as not bad? Instead of being so upset that I have to be connected to this person or that it keeps coming up, rather find out why it's not bad. So then I wrote, she told me, write a page of all about it. So I did, and I wrote, he kept his word, he's brave, he mentors people who are on murder charges in the jail. He has deep empathy and a capacity to feel. He gives credit where credit is due. He has an ability to overcome. He takes relationships very seriously. He does a work product with Kabbalah, values non-harming and wants to be of service, and has a very great sense of humor, beautiful voice, protector nature, monogamous, intellect, beautiful mind, non-superficial, and has external vulnerability, a truth carrier, incising perception, like very sharp, a hidden vulnerability also, rising above anxiety, ability to be alone, acknowledging good points he learned from, and his self-awareness, his self-control, precision, sensitivity. He accepts his body and his practice of mental focus training. He used to use chess for that he can easily talk about deep truths, that he values closure, resolution, and peace, that he spoke up to not have boundaries crossed. He could enforce space. He didn't call me, even when I was being different, he didn't call me things like crazy. His integrity, endurance, and ability to receive help, his unique charm, he could reflect back on healthiness without judgment to show the other in a gentle way, thoughtfulness, big picture view, his ability to plan for the future in practical ways, that he's looking for a partner. He also values purity, innocence, shyness, that he feels, and I wrote, I am, that he feels energetically good and well-meaning, and a special rare nature, doesn't try to force down so he can fit in. His self-loyalty is capable of so much quick growth and progress, and I wrote thoughtfulness. So that's a great practice to try, where we can actually mold the clay in a new way and see why we have this. It doesn't mean that it's them, it means what they represent and how it is a part of us already. It's in our energy vortex at the edge of our alignment. The reason I didn't do a video for the last 2 days for Friday and Saturday was because it was also not only the Sabbath, Shabbos, as is known that I have no video that I record on Shabbat, but also it was Shavuos, the holiday of receiving the Torah. So may it be that each of us have a week of satisfaction and renewal, our true self, presence, good health, good company, good week.